Hey guys, this is Lil with another raid video. Today I had planned on covering Live Arena because I know that lots of people haven't got access. I have got access, I've no idea why. I use my arena keys. It's supposed to be based on how active you are in the arena. I don't think I'm super active, but you know, I've been trying to use my keys and I've been pushing higher into Gold 5 and thinking about doing a plat push now that time zones are a little bit better here because our clock's changed recently. Otherwise it's right when I need to be on the school run, which doesn't really work. So I thought I'd share my initial thoughts on Live Arena. Of course, when I went to record the video, Live Arena is closed and isn't going to be open for like another 5 hours when I will not be around. So I thought I'd share my thoughts and share my thinking about teams and my thinking about building champs. So I'm going to cut over to the game and just use Minnow just to look at what I'm thinking when I'm picking my champs, and also what I'm now thinking I need to start re-gearing champs. So let's just maybe go to roster first. So I have a decent collection of champs. Maybe I'll move myself over here and you guys can see my roster. I've got some meta champs, but by no means all of them. I've got none of the Mariska and Taurus. I've got a Leo, I've got a Duchess, I've got a Rotus, I've got a Warlord, Python, Uko, Candy, Mithrala. I guess a lot of the sort of usual culprits. I like to think they're built pretty well. If you've watched my 3v3 arena video, then you will have seen sort of my approach when I'm building arena teams. And I'll head there briefly and just... So if I go to 3v3, these are my sort of 3v3 teams, and what I usually look for, and I talked about it in the 3v3, and I do the same in my standard arena comps, and I'll go and show you those in a sec, is I'm looking for protection and disruption, revive, healing here, and cleanse, and damage, and that's what I want from an arena team. So if I was starting from scratch here, I would go, right, well, I want a reviver, I want a way to interrupt, to disrupt, so that could be a Valk who's going to cut in, that could be a Morley, who I just bought and expect a Hydra video on her soon, because she can also cut in with her turn meter boost, a Mithrala is great interruption with her petrification. Warlord, I'm looking for reviver, interruption, protection, and damage. That's how I usually sort of think about my teams. So, if I look at a couple of these examples, this one at the bottom, I don't usually run Romantu in, but I've been testing him out recently. I usually run wherever she's gone. I usually run Kyoko in that spot. There we go. As protector. So protector, interrupter, damage, revive. That's my usual sort of how I build. And every team has bolster in it because I never plan to go first, because I usually never go first. I don't run any speed teams. I have a speed team. I never use it. I don't even use it for farming classic. So if we go and take a look at my classic arena, then I'm typically running, at the moment I've been running this team because I quite like Romantu. He's made it quite fun. I put him in a damage build. It's just fun to play around with. This is my usual team. Again, I've got some speed farm teams, but honestly, this is my standard. Warlord, Mithrala, Duchess, Candy. More recently, I've been going more with the... with this one, just a bit more fun. It brings a Romantu with a buff strip and a block passives, which, to be honest, is quite annoying. Passive skills, if I look at this team, Uko passive skill, Python passive skill. Great against, like here. All these annoying champs all have passive skills. Tormin, Rotus, Necrot, all passives. So yeah, we could go and hit this, and block all of those passives. Let's let it run. The problems that I've been hitting in 3v3 is I've built people in bolster. You build people in, I want bolster in all my teams. The problem is that when you're building that for 3v3, then you plan who's going to be in those teams, and you don't have that luxury in live arena because you might only have one. So I'll show you. We'll cut over to a 5 team. So there you go. Just block all those passive skills. It's fun. And to be honest, like farming gold 5, there's no challenge in this. You set your 1-man defense, you keep low, and you just farm gold 5 unless you're actually pushing. So I've got 4 hours left, so I can't show you there. But if I go back to Minnow just to show you sort of 5-man squads. So if I'm picking here, yeah. So at the moment everyone's in bronze, so it doesn't matter. You can pick duplicates in. When we get higher and get into gold, then it will be whoever goes first gets to pick the Duchess or the Siffy or whatever, because you can't have duplicates. So at the moment, my first pick is my Duchess. She's my strongest reviver. So my thinking at the moment is you need to pick 2 damage dealers, and most people sort of think this. You want your 2 strongest damage dealers. So for me, that's Rotus and Leo. Typically, I'm picking Rotus last, so that hopefully they don't get a chance to pick Ultimate Death Knight. It doesn't really matter if they do, as long as you can survive. Everyone thinks Ultimate Death Knight's like a hard counter to Rotus. He certainly slows you down, but the reality is that's all he does, because Rotus will block revive after a point. And at that point, he will just kill the Ultimate Death Knight, and he can't be revived, and then you can carry on picking off the team. So for me, I've been picking always 2 revivers, 2 damage dealers, and 1 cleanser or interrupter. So I'm not really... So like, Mithrala is not my favourite here. Well, no, I've been picking Mithrala a bit, but the main reason I've been picking Mithrala is because she's the only champ out of these 5 that I have in bolster. Like, you know, putting my... Warlord in here would be great, but then I've got no bolster in this whole team, and no stone skin in this whole team. My Duchess is in Swift Parry, just like her in that. I've got a good Swift Parry set on her. My Pythion is in Defiant for the damage reduction. I use him a few places, not only here. I should really switch him to Sheep though. Like before, I hadn't had people in Polymorph really, because I used them loads of places. Like my Duchess is in my Nightmare Hydra team. So I was running other blessings on some of these champs to so that they're useful in more places. But now with Live Arena, I feel like actually you want as much sort of sheep as you can. It's also a bit skewed because at the moment it seems to be really high-end people who are all in the Live Arena. So, you know, there's just sheep everywhere. So, you know, I could go Uko. Again, Uko is in a bit of a hybrid build at the moment because I use her in Hydra. I did just buy the Morley to free her up as well, is one of the benefits. So my Uko is in a taunting set to help with the Head of Decay, but she's, you know, in a high resist, high accuracy, high speed, high survivability build, and that's a difficult build to hit all the numbers on, and you can't get them high enough for everything. So, you know, ideally, I think most people are building her fast, low resist, high accuracy. I think will be the way to go in stun set. Seems to be how most people are going. I have looked at it, and I don't think I can get better stats on her than I have in the taunting set, in a stun set, which is why I've just left her as is for now. You know, but then I need a cleanser, and if I bring this cleanser, all they have to do is ban the cleanser, and suddenly I've lost my bolster and my cleanser. Yeah, so for me, and I think most people are thinking that, is 2 damage dealers, 2 revivers, and then, you know, I would say Pythion's filling 2 roles as cleanser and reviver. So in this sort of a setup, no matter who they ban, I've got another damage dealer, I've got another reviver, and I've got another cleanser. So that's kind of my thinking at the moment. You can, in Live Arena, and I've done this a couple of times, you can accidentally end up with a team that just doesn't work that well. It's just not effective. It just depends who they ban. You can get unlucky and suddenly your team is just not very good. That's happened to me a couple of times. Just they end up with a better team than you end up with just based on your ban picks. A Ramanto, and this is where it gets more interesting, is, if you start thinking something like this or like this. Because, a lot of people are saying, well, actually, what's going to be interesting is these hybrid roles that we haven't really had a lot of use for until now. So like those people who do a couple of things, like Chagor can do damage and debuff. Ragash, who can do damage and debuff. There's a few sort of those hybrid champs who don't really get a look in right now, like Countess Lix, who, again, I've built for damage because it's fun, and I don't really use her a lot of places. I'm seeing a lot of Hedgie coming back in, to be honest, like damage Hedgies seem to be a thing. I haven't been, but I know plenty have, picking my Arbiter, because, you can use it as a decoy or you can use it as I do plan to go first. But, these days, nukers don't really need a debuffer. So, whichever way, if I pick this team, whichever way the bans go, I'm fine. I'm fine with this as a go second team. I don't run this exact team because I wouldn't run 2 damage dealers, but if they banned my Arbiter, that's fine. If they didn't ban my Arbiter, I've got Arbiter into lockout, and I would ban their Arbiter. It just depends. But I've definitely seen way more Arbiter being picked, even by those high-end sort of, plat-type guys. I don't know if they are all plat, but I've seen Mad guys, I've seen Sin guys, so I presume they are. My thinking now is, who do I need to rebuild so that no matter what, I've got bolster in my team? Do I need to go and, build Duchess in? And, Duchess is getting banned all the time for me. She's probably my strongest build, so that's a bit annoying. But yeah, do I need to go back and look at my Pythion build and go, do you know what? No, Pythion, you're going to have to dedicate to Arena and go not in Defiant, but in full bolster set, just so that I've got backup bolster in the team, because to me that's a very good sort of survivability mechanic. It's an interesting time. It'll be interesting to see sort of where it lands. I'm not really using my UDK. I know he gets used loads in plat and he's fine, but he's a bit one-dimensional. If I see a Mountain King is another one that I've seen a lot of, or quite a bit of, because again, he can, in his damage build, he can tank up your team. So, I will certainly, I think mine's already in bolster, but he might be getting dusted off. Mine doesn't get a lot of playtime at all. But, some of these sort of hybrid champs might start seeing some usage. It'll be interesting to see where it lands. Anyway, I'm sorry, I might try and tag some actual gameplay onto the end of this, but I just wanted to sort of give you my thoughts, because I know not everyone's in there at the moment, and just what I'm thinking about some of my champs is, who do I need to rebuild to fit in the new game mode, and it'll be interesting to see where the meta lands. Anyway, guys, that's it from me. Do hit me a like and subscribe, it helps me out. And I will chat to you all in the next one.